What is going on, YouTube family? Today we back with another one. This one I told you guys I would do probably a couple months ago, and never really got around to it. So today we are going to finally do it. I'm going to show you guys how to drive a stick. So I'm going to show you from the pedal perspective. So that's going to be this video. I'm going to show you guys that don't know or want to learn what you actually need to be able to do with your feet in order to get the car to move. So starting out, obviously you're going to go in order of the gears: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7, depending on what type of vehicle you're driving. So first things first, go ahead and take your park and brake off, and then you're going to put the clutch in. So let's go ahead and identify our pedals first. So all the way over to the left is going to be the clutch. This is the brake, obviously, and then that's the gas. So pay attention up here so you can see the digital speed readout, and you can also see the tachometer as well, and that'll give you an idea of where I'm sort of letting the clutch out, and I'll go through it as well with you. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and put the car in first gear. Now the car is running, so you cannot, well, you could try to put the car in first gear without the clutch, but it's just going to grind, and that's what you don't want. So you got to go ahead and put the clutch in all the way to the floor. Go ahead and put it in gear, deactivate the parking brake. Now we're rolling backwards. So that's just that's a property of a manual transmission. There's no torque converter to keep you in place, so you have to sort of balance the clutch and let it know that you want to keep going forward. So this is all mechanical. This is you in the car, and that's sort of the thing that makes driving a stick fun, is that you're not going to go anywhere unless you know what you're doing. So start to let the clutch out, and you'll start to see the speed going up. 1, 2, 3, and now my foot's off and we're just rolling. No gas, no nothing. So that's just the car running on its own inertia. Now I can go ahead and apply gas, and we can speed up. So you'll see the tachometer is going up, and what that's letting you know is the engine is spinning faster. So what you'll want to do, whenever you want to shift, you'll put the clutch in, go to second gear, and then slowly let it out, and I'll show you what that looks like now. Also, whenever you come to a stop in gear, you must put the clutch in or the car will shut off. Now that's funny because this car has auto stop start, which now I'm going to go ahead and deactivate so that it's more like a traditional old school manual, so it won't shut off when I come to a stop. Now we're going to first gear, slowly let the clutch out. You'll feel that engagement point. Now you're rolling on your own. Go ahead and get some gas. You can see the tachometer's climbing up right around 3.5. Go ahead and shift to second. And I'll also show you how to shift to third. So clutch in, third, and then let it out. Now the reason that you'll see a lot of people sort of doing what we call bucking the car is they are, I'm going to put it in neutral to show you what I mean, but they're shifting and then they're just doing like that. They're just letting the clutch out really fast, and that doesn't give the engine time to bring itself down to the RPM to match that next gear, so you don't want to do that. Also, you really don't want to do what I'm doing right now, which is just roll in neutral. So when you're ready to get back in gear, you're going to go ahead and flip the throttle a little bit, clutch in, a little gas, and that's what we call rev matching. Now, had I not rev matched, it would have done it for me because the system is on, but you can override it just as long as you give it enough gas. So now we're in third, going about 30 miles an hour. So people used to say back in the day that the rule of thumb was once you get to 20, shift to second, 30, third, fourth, 40, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't always lend itself to acceleration. So when you're trying to get out the way, you may want to take this tachometer up to 4, 5, 6. It all depends on how quickly you're trying to go, and I'll show you what I mean by that as well. So there's a car coming. I don't need to be in his way for too long. 5,500 RPM for both shifts. Settle out in the fourth and the fifth, and now we're chilling. And that car is a distant memory. So if I would have shifted at 10, 20, 30, 40, I would have been sort of in the way. So that's how you get yourself out of a situation where there's a vehicle sort of coming down pretty quick on you. So And then once you're cruising, like now I'm actually in 5th gear doing 42 miles an hour, right around 2,000 RPM, 2,100. And that's plenty because this car makes its torque right around 1,800 RPM. So up these hills, it's no issue. I can just lean into the gas a little bit if I need to, and I'm able to continue accelerating without the need to downshift. If I did want to downshift for like the steep hill that's coming up, clutch in from 5th to 4th, and you didn't see me blip the throttle that time because I wanted to show you that the rev match system is on. But again, you can override that on these cars. Okay, see how I have my foot to the floor now? And we are accelerating, but not as quickly as we could. And I'll show you again what I mean by that. So we were in 4th gear. In 3rd gear, we have even more acceleration because it's a smaller gear and it's turning at a higher rate of speed. So now it's even more of a pull. Second, neutral. So whenever you see people do that, they're just checking to make sure that the car is in neutral so that they don't accidentally let the clutch out while it's in gear. Second, third, fourth. Downshift. Third, second, neutral, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and just to show you, that's 6. Because instead of using my brakes, I just decided to use the engine itself and let the physics of it sort of slowing itself down, use that to bring the vehicle to a slower speed. Some people say, well, I'd rather just replace my brake pads than need a transmission. First off, if you get a good rev match in and you're not damaging the transmission or grinding into gears, it's totally fine. I mean, that's literally how tractor trailers do some of their best slowing down, is by, you know, downshifting. So downshifting is a good thing, and I hate when I see people driving and then they just throw it in neutral at 30 miles an hour and use the brake the entire way to come to a stop. I'm just like, dude, that's not how you do that. You don't have a torque converter that's helping you bring itself, you know, down. So if you're in neutral, you're just basically at the will of gravity. So if you're going downhill, you'll go faster. If you're going uphill, you'll go slower, faster, if that makes sense. But it's easier to control your speed when you're still in a gear. Also, riding around or sort of coasting in neutral, if you need to make a quick maneuver and you go to jab the gas and you're in neutral, you're not going to go anywhere. So you could potentially keep yourself from having an accident by having the vehicle in gear versus not having it in gear. Also, like right now, I got 3 cars in front of me on their brakes. I'm not going to brake on this hill at all. I don't need to. I can control my speed with my gear, with the gear that I choose. Now that we're flat, we're going uphill. Apply some gas. I don't need to downshift again because this hill's not that big. It's not that steep. These hills, they have hit the brakes on each dip. I haven't touched it. I haven't needed to. Really, I could even go in the fifth. So that's really the basics, guys. I mean, that's pretty much how you drive a manual transmission vehicle. I showed you from the pedal perspective, showed you the shifter perspective. If you have any other questions or comments, meet me in the comments section. But that's pretty much it. I will show you guys how to reverse as well once we get up here to park, and we'll finish out the video. Oh, and don't do that either. Don't rest your head on the shifter. It's a bad habit. It is a really bad habit that a lot of manual transmission drivers have. But resting your hand on this is not like some electronic joystick shifter that you find in an automatic car. This is linked mechanically to the physical transmission of the car. You are moving things around with this. So resting the weight of your hand on it can be detrimental to it, because you'll end up weakening what's called the synchronizers. And the synchronizers are what allows me to drive this vehicle without having a double clutch to get into every single gear. We'll talk about double clutching in another video. I will show you what that looks like, and how to do it, and why it was done at one point. So we will do that video as well. Now, as far as backing up, so reverse in some cars is where my first gear is. I've seen reverse where my second gear is. I've seen reverse where my fifth gear is, and reverse on this car is actually all the way over and back. But just look at the pattern on the top of the shifter so that you make sure you know. Unless it's an aftermarket shifter, then my suggestion to you is slowly let out the clutch until you feel it go one way or the other. But just, make sure that you don't just dump the clutch, because that could lead to a pretty bad situation. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hope to bring you guys some more great content in 2023. Peace out.